We're here at the CCA workbench, and it's time for the Fish Bites Trading Post Rigs and Techniques. Dave, so, dude, let's just get right into it. We're talking about groupers, a very popular fish in the state of Florida. So how are we going to catch them?
Well, groupers are pretty strong fish, so you're going to need to beef up your gear a little bit, you know, mainly to get them off the bottom and away from their hole, like some of the guys have been talking about. So we're going to start with this Pin Fathom 260. You know, you can use a 40, but this is a 60, and it's a 2-speed reel. So in case you get, you know, down and tight with him, you can shift into low gear and pull him really, you know, slower, but you'll be able to get him out because that low gear is down to 1.6 to 1 turn, and you know it's 5.1 to 1 in high. So you can wing, wind, and then get a lot of line back. And then if it starts dogging, you can shift to low, and you still can keep cranking and getting your line back. These have stainless steel main gears and pinion gears, forged aluminum spool. It's not gonna, you know, get rickety on you after you fight a great big fish. And that 2-speed system is the way to go. Now, if you're gonna be using jigs and stuff, I like jigging with a spinning reel better than a conventional reel, just because of the way they're made. You know, all the weight's on the bottom of the, so it goes up and down easy. It's just it's just more natural for me. You can jig with both, but if you got a big, you know, spinning reel like that pin there, Slammer 4 7500, that's 4.7 to 1 gear ratio. It holds 440 yards of 50-pound braid, which is, you know, probably what I would put on it. And again, it's got a full metal body, the CNC gears and everything, so it's not going to wobble on you.
Right.
And because you're putting a lot of torque on these things, you know, because you want to lock down the drag when you're catching these grouper. You really want to get about as maximum as you can get out of the reel and still have free spool with a conventional, and you want to crank down the spinning reel as tight as you can get it, just about. Of course. Because, you know, you don't want them slipping on you and getting back into that hole.
Right.
As far as line goes, I'm always going to use braid when I'm bottom fishing. You can feel everything, no matter how deep you go. I fish it in 250 feet of water, 50 to 60-pound braid, sometimes even lower than that. 40-pound braid will work. 40-pound braid probably breaks at 80 pounds or something. It's ridiculous. So, you know, don't worry about breaking it. You're probably not going to break it. You have to twist it around your body and stuff when you get hung up to break it.
Right.
So you're probably not going to break it on a fish.
Could you use that Prospect Chrome?
Berkeley Prospect Chrome in 40, 50, or 60-pound. All of those should work.
Leader? And
a leader. And I got 130 there, and that's not out of bounds. You know, I'd use between 80 to 130-pound fluoro or monofilament leader, just because that gives you a little stretch at that end. Because you're using braid, there is no stretch. But that, you know, 6 feet of leader, which is like I'll probably use on a knocker rig, which is what you got right there, which is one of my favorite rigs if I'm grouper fishing. That has an 8-ounce weight, and that's pretty much my normal weight is an 8-ounce. If I'm fishing in 250 feet of water, I might go to a 10-ounce, but that 8-ounce weight will get a small live bait down really quick. And I'll hook the bait through the nose and send him down with that knocker rig. And you can also use a single hook dropper rig when you're fishing for grouper instead of using the 2 dropper loops. You can use a single loop dropper rig, and it works really well. And you want to use a circle hook for sure.
I think you have to use one for sure in the Gulf.
Even if you didn't have to use one, you should be using one because they work better than a J hook. A J hook, when it gets swallowed by that grouper, a grouper can swallow that whole bait down, and then it gets caught in a soft spot in his throat, or maybe in a gill plate, or on a gill or something soft inside, even a stomach lining or something, and you pull, and then it gives way.
Right.
Once that circle hook finds a spot in the corner of the jaw, you can pull, and it ain't gonna give away. It'll bend out or break before that happens.
So you think a 10-0 like this L200 4U is the right size? Heavy, certainly heavy.
That 10-0 is good. You can use but notice that this is labeled a 9-aught, I think, and how much bigger it is than that one.
Yeah.
It's you really want to go by how big a bait you're using, because you don't want the bait to cover up the gap of the hook.
Right.
If you can get just a little bit of the bait onto the hook, then that's even better.
And what about the guys that want to fish artificials quickly?
Well, you know, you can use a bucktail jig like that one with a little fish bite tail on there, or you can use a slab jig, you know, as I call butterfly jigs, vertical jigs. you know, just get them down close to the bottom and work them erratically, and hopefully you'll get that grouper bite. And you'll probably, what happens a lot of times is something else will eat that,
Yeah.
and then the grouper will eat it. So
It's a dog eat dog world.
That works out good too.